I know we took a 2-week vacation. You'll find out why after our intro, but this is BobcatTracks brought to you by Ohio Health. Bob Boldon's with me. He's in for Mike Scholze.
Hey.
Yeah, hey.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? Mike Scholze's out with COVID, so we're going to get creative, and we have one of our best, Bob Boldon, here as well. So softball season coming to an end, all of our spring season stuff. Baseball's trying to get underway in Muncie. Caravan news, Bob was in Cleveland, and then also some men's basketball news and football schedule times released today. So with that, let's get started.
Time to get agitated, Bobcat fans. It's time for BobcatTracks with Jungle Jake Ramada and Mighty
Bob Boldon.
Bob,
Good.
Bob,
That was good.
Bob,
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, of course.
Appreciate it. Scholze's got COVID, sadly. He was on his way to Muncie, actually, for the baseball tournament, but then found out on his way to Muncie that he got COVID. So he came right back. So it's unfortunate that we wish him a speedy recovery. He said he's good. He just has a cold. So he's going through his quarantine process. So Scholze, speedy recovery.
Speedy recovery. It's nice to be called up. I'm happy to come off the bench and get some reps here.
Well, you did a little podcasting for us during COVID.
Yes.
So you have experience.
I have experience. Quality time. We did some quality time.
That's what it was called?
That's what it was called.
Who did you talk to in your quality time?
I had some really good conversations with a lot of our head coaches. Aaron Rodgers was one of them. Joel. We talked with Kenzie. We talked with Allie. And we started with Jeff. That was at the time when we did it was probably who I was most comfortable with, and it was the subject of basketball. So I kind of got my feet wet with him. But I will tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed doing them. It was really neat to kind of dig in and learn about these other sports. I'm notoriously quiet, shy, and stick to basketball and Cleveland Browns football. So it was nice to kind of get out of that shell a little bit and talk to other people and learn about their sports. And I think what's really unique is the coaches at Ohio have all had these different paths to get here, and they all have some really special stories that I think we do a really good job of highlighting when they get hired. But like in Aaron and Joel's case, like they've been here for so long, like we've almost forgotten. Like Joel's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Aaron was an elite men's soccer player, and those stories kind of get buried as we kind of move forward. Allie was playing for the national team. They're really good at the press release time, but then you're so busy working on your team, and as a head coach, you don't want the story to be about you. The story should be about the team. It should be about the players. And it was just kind of nice to kind of bring those back and kind of go through those glory years and talk about the successes that they had before they became coaches. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, I know this summer we're going to try to do more of that because obviously, you're a coach. You want to talk about your kids. You don't want to talk about you. And so hopefully this summer series we can highlight our coach a little more and bring out some of those stories that you're talking about as well.
Yeah, we have some magnificent ones. We really do. And then it gets caught into once you become the head coach, now anybody really cares about is winning and losing.
Yeah.
Right? And then you kind of lose the backstory or the path that these people had to go just to get the job and things of that sort. So I think, to me, that was very, very interesting. Our fans know the winning and losing. You go to the website, you can see the winning and the losing and whatever. And that's important. We should try to win, believe me. And we're all trying our very best to do so. But to me, it was about the person and the backstory that was most interesting and something I really enjoyed doing.
I love that. So let's get into some. In the 2 weeks we've been gone, Scholze was in Cancun for a little bit, and then when he came back, I left. I was in Oregon, and I was also in Oxford with softball, so that's why our podcast schedule kind of got a little lost in there. But softball season, they did come to an end. 23-25 overall, 17-10 though in MAC play, so a good conference season for Kenzie Roark and company. Track and field also, their season ended in our little time away at MAX in Kalamazoo. Baseball's trying to get underway in Muncie, but the rain just won't stop there.
Yeah.
And there's one negative about spring sports. They just can't get it started. So at the time of taping, baseball has not started yet. They've been, I think, delayed 3 or 4 times. So could you imagine
at least
Craig,
a full day, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine Craig right now? You're just trying to play a game, but imagine if your basketball tip time was pushed back 4 times.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a game. We were scheduled to play at Northern Illinois. They had a level 3 snow emergency here in Athens, and we obviously you're not allowed on the road, so we couldn't leave Athens. So we did postpone. Or we ended up going the next day, but yeah. So you worry about that inclement weather and travel, but at least for our sport, like once you get there, we can play.
Yeah. No.
Like once we were in DeKalb, we knew we were going to play.
Yeah.
You know, I can't imagine just sitting around waiting and. You know, kids and athletes have these pregame routines, especially in baseball. I feel like it's one of the most superstitious of all the sports.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, you know, getting ready to play and then not, then getting ready to play, then not. Then like that's got to be tough on the kids.
Yeah, they don't just get their 60 minutes before tip.
Correct. Yeah. Show up and stretch and yeah.
Some other news around Ohio athletics. I want to thank everybody who came out to the Cleveland Caravan. You were there. Can you give us and some of our listeners what the Cleveland Caravan was like? We talked about the Cincinnati one, so that kicked off our series. But you're in Cleveland.
Yeah, I was in Cleveland.
How much fun was that?
Great. I love going back there. Obviously, I grew up in the Northeast Ohio area, not as close to Cleveland as you grew up, but in that area. So I enjoyed being up there. On the second floor, Harry Buffalo's, great spot, beautiful night, windows were open, you know, good crowd, and you know, Tim and I got to visit with some people and talk, and Spencer ran a little panel and question answer. It's always nice to be out and about, that's for sure. And
our next one is in Lancaster, June 1st at Ale House 1890, address 149 West Main Street in Lancaster. Once again, June 1st, Ale House 1890. So Lancaster is different from Columbus, way different from our Columbus Caravan. I mentioned that I grouped the two together, and a fan did tell me at a softball game. He said Lancaster is much different from Columbus. So I learned the hard way there, and now I respect that Lancaster and Columbus are two separate. Like you can't.
No, you can't.
It's much like Akron and Cleveland, right?
Correct.
You can't. Like people outside of Cleveland and Akron would just be like, "Oh, Akron's Cleveland," but it's not. So Lancaster, Columbus, I was that outsider that grouped them together. So Columbus Bobcats, your Caravan, June 8th. At 1487 Brewery in Plain City, and then our Athens Caravan at Eclipse Company Store at the end of the month on June 23rd. So you will be at some caravans too, you said?
I will. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's nice just to kind of be out and about and talk to our fans, and you know, just give some insight to what's going on here. And you know, there's a lot of questions and wondering, like anticipation, right? Like what's next, and I think it's like that for every sport, and you know, you're getting ready to ramp up the season, and everybody generally is pretty excited about their teams in the summer. There's generally a good enthusiasm, so it's a good time, that's for sure.
Some men's basketball news in our time away. They just got a transfer from Tulane, Devon Baker. We could talk about him. A Dayton native, just averaged 6 points a game in over 18 minutes a game. Played 26 games at Tulane last year, also had 7 starts. And also in our time away, you guys got a transfer too, correct?
Correct.
Are you able to talk about
I am not.
You're not? Okay, well, so we're not going to talk about your transfer.
We're not going to. But we have one.
Okay. Stay tuned then?
Yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned? Okay.
We'll hopefully have a release out early next week, late next week.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, the men have done a great job of using the transfer portal. You know, whether you like it or you don't like the transfer portal, you have to admit that it's here, and it's a method to build your team. And now you have high school kids, you have junior college kids, and you have transfers. And you've always had transfers. It's just been easier now. We've cut through some of the red tape to get transfers eligible. And I think that's good for kids. You know, kids have a short period of time to play, and we should honor that. We should be respectful of that time and do what we can to help players play. That's what they want to do. And I think the NCAA has done a good job of that.
Breaking news. Literally just came out when we were having our interview with Aaron Rodgers of this episode. So football times came out today. Some TV times too. First game against FAU is a 6 o'clock kick. ESPN Plus, the season opener against FAU, 6 o'clock kick. Then September the 10th at Penn State. Get this, Bob, noon kick on ABC.
Wow.
Yeah, for the 10-year anniversary of Ohio upsetting Penn State back in 2012.
It was nice of them to put it on at noon for us.
Right? How about that? Noon on ABC. That'll be fun. So, yeah, if you're a Bobcat trying to make plans to go out to Penn State for that game, I mean, noon, ABC. I mean, there's a little more on the line there, which would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I think that 6 o'clock start, that home opener is going to be wild. I mean, those early tailgating at those early games has always been a popular attended event, let's just say.
And
I think a 6 o'clock game here at home to start the season will be pretty special.
Speaking of well-attended events and tailgating, homecoming against Akron. Oh no, my phone went away. But it's a 2 it's a 2 o'clock kick, October 8th for homecoming. So anybody wanting to come back to Athens for homecoming on October the 8th, that's a 2 o'clock kick against Akron. So that too is a well-attended event.
Absolutely.
I feel like all of our 6 listeners want to know when homecoming is. So Aaron Rodgers, good coaching friend of yours too. He's our guest today. What are some of your thoughts from that, Aaron, or some takeaways from that Aaron interview that we had earlier?
I mean, you can just tell, you can tell the passion that he has for his sport and his players. And he talked about how his players really care about each other, but that starts at the top. That starts because he cares about them. And he's very passionate about what he does, and he comes in and he does it, and he puts his heart and soul into it. And it was really it was nice to see them have the success that they had. I was really proud for him to get the individual award, the Coach of the Year award that he got. I think it was well deserved. And he's, like you said, that's kind of over now, and that's kind of the way that a coach's mind works, is that you get it and it's fun, and we probably should celebrate those victories a little bit more than we do. But the reality of it is the next season's coming. You got to get ready for it. And it sounds like their team's reloaded and ready to go, and should be an exciting fall.
All right, with that, here's Aaron. Aaron, thanks so much for taking the time out. I know you're probably so busy right now, like the rest of us here in May, right?
Yes, very busy.
That's the right answer.
Busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
no,
good.
really, with some recruiting and things like that. Yeah, and we got a big recruiting weekend coming up.
Yeah. Where are you going?
New Jersey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's out in New Jersey?
So one of the big soccer leagues is called the ECNL, and they're doing a really big nationwide showcase in Somerville or something like that. I don't know. It's like south of New York City.
It's pretty cool.
Near Rutgers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to the city at all, or no?
No, heck no.
No.
I'll be watching soccer games from like 8 to 8. And I'll be too wiped out to be driving into the city.
Are you a city guy or no?
I like the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like cities in general, or are you okay?
I like cities.
What's the best city you've been to?
In the U.S. or in the world?
It doesn't matter.
Start in the U.S.
The U.S. Best city I've ever been to. That's a good question. I do like New York City a lot.
Okay.
I think New York. I guess it depends on what you're looking for, but I like New York City a lot. San Diego's awesome because of the weather. I mean, I like the big cities in Ohio. I do. I like Cleveland. I like Cincinnati. Columbus is a little different feel than Cleveland and Cincinnati, but it has its great parts too. But I do, and I mean, I do like being able to go to those cities in our great state.
So let's talk about the season a little bit. Why are you smiling at me?
I'm just happy to be here, man.
That's normally
just
me.
happy to be here.
That's me too.
I get to sit aside the talent. I get to sit across from the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I know, and you've been very reluctant to talk about being the Coach of the Year. Very humble in your approach. But open up just a little bit about, you're in this, you're grinding. You've had teams that have, for lack of a better term, not been good, as we both have.
Yeah.
We've had that conversation.
Yeah.
We've coached teams who have just flat out not been good.
Yeah.
You have a team. You are good. And many people might not understand how close you were from just outright winning the whole league last year, right? I mean, just in your game, obviously a goal's not like a basket in my game, right? Where there's thousands of them, there's one. But like, you guys are in a really good spot the week before, right?
Yeah.
But like, when you get that, you go, because you won the Coach of the Year, and they interview you, and you don't even talk about it, right? Because your mind's on the playoffs and the tournament and all that kind of stuff. But now it's been some time. You've had some time. So what does it truly mean to you?
I mean, I think it just means that the players and the program has kind of embraced my thought process of how I think a successful college program should be. And I think, I put a lot of credit into our assistant coaches that have been before the present assistant coaches and the assistant coaches now and the players before and the players now. Listen, I tried to be humble about it, but we'll be realistic. We all are proud of individual honors like that. And it meant a lot to be voted by the peers, because obviously our coaching peers are the ones that do the voting for that. And so that was very humbling, and it meant a lot that they recognize how hard we've been working and how our team and the program has kind of evolved over the years. And so it does mean a lot, but as a coach speak would be like, well, we're 2 months away from the next season now. So I'm like, oh, man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, we kind of missed our peak of celebration, right? Because, it already is, on to the next, right? That's just the way we're wired. And we kind of joked earlier, May feels like a time where we're not really that busy, and you don't necessarily have anything on the calendar, but it just turns out that you are busy, right? Because you're always building that team. There's always kids coming by the office. There's always something to be doing, right? And the recruiting world never ends. As you mentioned, you're headed out this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was a phenomenal season. It was really satisfying to see the players really compete at such a high level on and off the field, and how they connected together, and it means a lot to me and our coaching staff that they have embraced all of that.
Let's rattle this off really quick. So highest win percentage since 2002. You're 11-5-3, 694% win percentage. 7 MAC wins, most since 2006. Also second in the MAC. Those are. You mentioned earlier in answering Bob's question how special the group was and what they bought into your thought process and how you coach. What was it in your eyes that was so special about this group? That you had several All-MAC honorees also this year. You're losing some of them, at least with COVID. I don't know. You can clear that up if I'm wrong there. But what was so special about this group?
This group is, to a person, has been just a wonderful human first. And they really, truly embrace serving each other. They really, truly embrace doing things for the team, not trying to get whatever honors for themselves or to score the most goals or the most assists or the most passes or the most saves. They truly don't embrace it. They embrace team first. And I know, we're not doing rocket science here. We're not doing brain surgery. We're not doing anything that's so scientific like that. But it is true, when a team embraces the team first and each other first, you're going to be more successful than you're not. And I tell our players all the time, the MAC is such a competitive league in all sports, because the parity that we have is unbelievable, because we're all very similar in size. We're all very similar in budgets. We're all very similar, obviously, in location. And we're all recruiting basically the same pool of players. And so what's going to separate us from the 11 other MAC schools? And it probably isn't going to come down to technique. It's going to come down to how well we serve each other. And if we can serve each other better than everybody else, we are going to be more successful than we're not. And I think this group really embraced that.
Do you have some key returners coming back? I know just because of COVID, it may sound like a stupid question, but you just never know who has the extra year, who's coming back, who's not. Anybody from that group?
Like Abby Townsend will take a 5th year COVID year. Sam Wexel, our goalkeeper, will take a 5th COVID year this year. Haley Miller, who was another winner of some individual awards, she was a key component to the team. She'll take a 5th COVID year as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, and without talking very specifics, our sport is a head count sport. Everybody gets a full scholarship. We don't have choice, no negotiating. I've walked into your office and seen this this spreadsheet that I don't know how long I'd have to study it to figure it out. But just talk to us a little bit about the thought process going through that, and then if you care to, I mean, if you're done with the COVID talk, I think we all are. But if it goes that direction, talk about how you dealt with COVID, and as you mentioned, kids coming back for a 5th year. Yeah. I'm sure that messes with your equivalencies a little bit. But just talk to the people that are listening about, what's it like doling out those scholarships and the thought process of how what gets you to that moment.
Yeah, I think being an equivalency sport, I mean, we have to manage that. I mean, as Bob said, I have a spreadsheet that just adds up to the amount of scholarships that we have, and it's all, we're dealing with these percentages, and so it is a balance. And each player is different. And we're fortunately able to stack academic and athletic money here for equivalency sports. So some kids with better academics are going to get a little more academic money. So maybe that can help offset some athletic money. I don't necessarily go into it that way with these PSAs, but it is part of it. I mean, we have to, because at the end of the day, for an equivalency sport, these families are just worried about what bottom line they're going to have to pay. When you're in a head count sport, well, they know it's zero, so that you don't have to worry about that. So I'm always having these conversations with families about, well, what at the end of the day, how much am I going to have to pay? It's like when you go and you buy a new car, you're like, what's my payment? Yeah. What's my payment going to be? Like, I don't care how much the car is. What's my payment going to be? And that's kind of what we deal with. So it is one of those situations, too, where it is not an exact science. And we are offering something to somebody that we hope and that we feel that we've been able to evaluate well, but you never know when it comes to this level, because the jump even from the top youth league to Division I college soccer is so huge. Because you're thinking about, like, every player on our roster started and played just about every minute for their youth team, and then they come here and we have a 29-player roster, and you only play 11 on a field, we sub and things like that, but there are players that don't get to play much. And how do they deal with that? And so it's a huge competitive jump, and so I think when we make those offers, we have players all over. We have players that are on a certain equivalency that are doing much more than people on a higher equivalency, and vice versa. So there's no exact science to it. It is just kind of, each year is different and each player is different, and so just managing that spreadsheet. And listen, I'm not very smart, so it's not really that complicated, because I made it, and I can do a few things on Excel, and summing a column is one of them.
Yeah, well, if you ever see it, it's mind blowing.
Is it color coded?
I have a little bit of yellow highlights on there for different things, but it's mostly just black and white.
Yeah. We're not sure if those kids are good or bad. But so if anybody ever sees it, I don't know if that means you're a good player or a bad player, but there are people highlighted. I have seen that.
You're bringing in 7 players. Like you said, you have so many players on your roster. You're bringing in 7. You have some returners from last year, taking some COVID years, and you're adding some defensive transfers too.
Yes.
So, new faces and stuff. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure we're going to talk later on in the summer too, like right before the season. So you don't have to go in too much on your new faces, but. I mean, especially with the portal, too. I mean, it may be how you've kind of maneuvered that the last couple of years, because you brought in some last year, you're bringing in some this year, too, and just kind of what your attack plan, I guess, is when it comes to new faces and the portal.
So we bring in 7 freshmen, and we have 3 transfers coming in. Or 2 of the transfers came in January.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we have a 3rd that's a grad transfer. So the other 2 transfers are undergrad transfers, and they'll finish in their undergraduate degree here. And they're here. And then our grad transfer, she'll come in August when the freshmen report. So excited. I mean, we did graduate a lot on our back line defensive. We returned pretty much all of our attack, give or take a player or 2. But we needed to kind of reinforce defensively, and so that's where we kind of went into the transfer portal to figure out, all right, who has some college experience that can come in and can contribute. And so really the 3 that we brought in from transfers are all defenders. And so with 2 undergrad transfers and the grad transfer, and so we look forward to them. And then obviously the freshmen, from the freshman standpoint, that we have some that are defenders, midfielders, attackers. So we got and goalkeepers. We have 2 goalkeepers coming in. So I think they'll all add really well. I'm really excited about this class. I'm really excited. I mean, I know I think in today, but I'm also thinking years down the road. I'm really excited for the 23 recruiting class that we obviously they are committed to us, but we can't talk about them because they haven't signed yet. But really excited for the future and, you know, for them to continue to build on what we've been able to build over the last 3-4 years.
I noticed with this class. Do you have a question? Sorry. No? Okay, sorry. I was going to bring.
No, you're the talent, man. I'm just here. I'm the co-host. I'm just here.
I'm going to bring this up too. He was also the talent at one point. We were talking about this before you walked in.
Yes, he's had his own podcast.
He's had his own podcast. Yeah. So you can't throw that term on me with another.
No, he should. He's a good talker. He's very fluid. he's got good vocabulary. He's got good diction. He gets like real crisp enunciation of words and worldly.
Yeah, in spreadsheets.
In spreadsheets and very worldly.
Oh, yeah, we never got to talk about my best city in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll pick up on that here in a second. I just want to finish this before, because I don't want to jump to cities and then back to recruiting.
Yeah, no.
Whatever. But your class coming in, I noticed a lot of them are not from Columbus, but nearby Columbus too. How do I word this here? How critical is Columbus, I guess, to you in recruiting, not just that area, but state as well? Because I know you're going to New Jersey, and I don't know how many Ohio teams maybe would be there traveling in clubs and whatnot. But I mean, how important is it to you to own home?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, and I said to a friend of mine that runs one of the biggest clubs in Ohio, is that listen, if somebody, I get it, the lure of Power 5, I get it, I understand that, but we want to be the first option for those that don't aspire or have the ability to go Power 5 but choose to have a different route. You know, we want to be the first option for that, and especially in the state of Ohio, because obviously being an in-state school, from, you know, we talked about the financial side of things, having a reputation, a great reputation as a state university from Ohio University in the state. People know it, people love it, and so I think that's a huge advantage for us. And obviously being biased, I mean, I feel that we have the best opportunity here from a athletic and academic and a social standpoint for these student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, we're clearly the best school in the state.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense. Yeah, we all agree.
Absolutely.
We all agree.
Is this a good state for soccer?
Yeah, and I think that's the next level of that. I mean, I think Ohio has a really good base of soccer players, and so for us to be able to kind of recruit inside this region, inside this Midwest region, be it Western Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Chicago. I think Chicago is obviously in the footprint of the MAC. It's not super far away, and then obviously the amount of people that just live in the greater Chicagoland area. We always usually get a player or two from that area. And so it's been a good pipeline for us there. So, but yes, we want to be able to be the first choice in this Midwest area for those players that don't have the opportunity to go to Power 5 or may, but want to shine a different path.
For sure.
So yeah, New Jersey, you say, like, that's just a really big showcase. All the teams from Ohio will be there. All the teams from Michigan will be there, and it's good because we see them a lot here at home. But we get to see them play against teams from the West Coast, from Texas, from the Southeast. And so it kind of gives you a different perspective of them playing at a different level.
No. Spoken like a true Texan, right? There's the West Coast, there's the East Coast, there's the Southeast, there's Texas, right? Like,
this is true. Yeah.
Every Texan thinks that they're their own. They don't even know they're not even sure they're part of the United States anymore. No. But he knows that it's Texas.
It's ingrained
all the
in
other
you.
Parts of
it's ingrained in you from birth, basically, when you live and grow up in Texas.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you holstering your gun before you came into.
I put it in the lockbox.
You know, that is. You didn't mention like Dallas or anything when it comes to cities that you've visited, or anything from Texas. Back to cities. Let's go back to cities.
Boy, you said you weren't going to jump around. Yeah. Here you go, Mr. Leapfrog.
Now let's go. Now this is the whole off the rails part.
Dallas is good. I mean, it's a good city. It's big, and
Austin, even?
Austin is a really cool city.
Are you gonna? Do you want to say your favorite city?
No.
Is that what we're doing?
No, this is about.
Oh no,
Because you keep giving him cities to
Yeah,
say.
Austin
We'd like to
is
give
cool.
your favorite city.
Okay.
I will tell you this, and this is
I'm muting my headset.
this is personal opinion. So no disrespect to anybody, but
Who's gonna be disrespected? Is your
No one.
opinion? Who cares?
well,
We have 6 listeners. It's okay.
okay, good. Well, one of the 6 might.
Stop it.
Houston is not my favorite city. Too hot.
Why would it be?
Too hot. Well, we're going through the.
I know
list
he
of,
won. Yeah, right.
of Texas cities,
Yeah.
and it's a major U.S. city. Too hot, too crowded, too humid. Not a fan of it.
Okay.
But
So
I do
which
like.
one?
I do like Dallas, Fort Worth. Austin San Antonio is a cool city.
Okay.
You know, the Riverwalk, do all those things. It's hot as hell down there, though. Yeah.
Okay, back to cities in the world. If you want to.
Buenos Aires, Argentina.
What were you doing there?
Just watching soccer.
Oh, really?
Soccer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite city in the world. It's just such a cool place, and people are so cool, and just a lot of history, and it's a very European city in South America. It is just a lot of diversity of the urbanization of it. I mean, how you get the influence from all the different Italy and Spain and Germany and all the different European countries. Like they kind of just melted there in Buenos Aires, and it's a pretty cool city and great soccer too.
Yeah, I mean, that's my question. I was doing research today.
Yeah.
And you're a soccer aficionado. Like you're always watching these games because I guess when you're a soccer fan, you watch games like all day because that's when they're on, right?
Yeah,
they're not
yeah.
on at 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
at night.
because many of them are from Europe.
Right.
So,
Yeah. But I was reading an article about the top 25 players under 20.
Under 20.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't remember.
So
I may not know. Many
This
of
is
these
my
other-
well. No, this is my question to you. I want to know who there were 2 Americans in the top 5, and I want you to tell me
Gio Reyna.
which one you think is better.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Gio Reyna is one of them.
Well, I'm going to say Trinity Rodman,
Oh, so male and female.
and this all female.
Oh, all female. Okay.
Yes, I'm the women's basketball coach, and I promote women's sports.
I promote all sports.
I'm kidding.
Trinity Rodman. Okay.
Or Sophia Smith.
I have seen Sophia Smith play in real life, and she's super good. And I have not seen Trinity Rodman play
and
in
why
real
didn't
life.
she play for us?
I think she played it. Did she play UCLA
No, I
or
don't know.
USC?
It wasn't in the article. I can only tell you what I read in the article.
Those 2 women are unbelievably powerful and athletic. Just
So which one's better?
Trinity Rodman is Dennis Rodman's daughter.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And she actually just signed the most lucrative women's professional contract in the U.S. in the NWSL. I think $1 million over 3 years or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for her. That's sweet.
I'll take either one of them.
Well, give me your opinion.
I think Sophia Smith's a little older, so she's isn't she a little older? What is it?
Sophia's 21
Yeah.
and Rodman's 20.
Yeah, both amazing players. I mean, they're both super powerful and super athletic, can score goals. I mean, I saw Sophia Smith play in a couple summers ago, and just watch from field level, just seeing how quick and powerful she is was pretty awesome to see, and being able to finish chances too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are either of them the best in the world under 21?
Yeah, I don't know enough of the other countries' under 21 players.
According to ESPN, Trinity's the #1 player in the world under 20, under 21.
Hometown bias, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I don't know.
I wouldn't see
right.
why she wouldn't be up there.
Lauren Hemp was #2. Lena Obendorf was #3, and then Sophia Smith was #4.
Fair enough.
Which is impressive. I mean,
Absolutely.
our U.S. women's team has traditionally been very good, and we have 2 of the top 5 kids in the world, according to this article.
And I would say that, like, we have been so advanced for a number of reasons. I think the U.S. put resources into women's soccer before many other countries did, so it would help develop grassroots early. I think we tend to have some of the best athletes. You know, so I think that as we continue to grow technically and tactically with this athletic ability that we have, you know, we'll just continue to create, to have better and better players. And I think, you know, so it's not surprising to see those two ladies on that list. I mean, I'm going to go look that list up now and see.
Why do you think the U.S. men's team struggles so much? Is it just because soccer on the roll is just insane. I mean, the Premier League and, I mean, the World Cup in general. I mean, so many talented people around the world. Why do you think the U.S. men always struggle? That's even a valid question.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. Everybody asks it. I think, you know, we have so much competition from other sports. You know, I think the fact that, you know, the major sports in the U.S., being American football and basketball and baseball, they really dominate the best athletes that the United States is able to bring out. And I also think that being a newer sport, I think you start seeing the U.S. producing more and more better players now, because their parents grew up, like me, grew up playing soccer or being a soccer fan. And so you're not in it. We're getting past the generation of parents that, well, I don't know anything about soccer, but my kids play. You know, we're getting to that place where people know, the parents know about soccer and they appreciate soccer and they encourage soccer. You know, so I think hopefully in the next few years, you know, hopefully this summer or this fall when the World Cup happens, you know, our team shows really well. We do have some really good young players. I think our average age for the men's national team is like 24 years old, which is one of the youngest in the CONCACAF region, which will still be one of the youngest in the World Cup. So that bodes really well because we're hosting the World Cup in 2026 along with Mexico and Canada. We should have an automatic berth in there. So those players that are going to be getting this experience now be 26, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So hopefully it sets us up to be really successful in 2026. But, you know, let's hope we do well this year.
You're a big Premier League guy, I hear.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you root for?
Liverpool.
How'd that go this year?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for. For the league, they lost by 1 point.
Okay.
It's my life, story of my life. We lost the MAC by 1 point.
Someone in compliance told me to ask you that.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to give away any names.
Well, he's lucky.
He said that.
He's lucky. He's the last person that needs to be talking any trash here. But, yeah, Liverpool. But Liverpool plays in the Champions League final against Real Madrid on Saturday. So 3 o'clock on Saturday, 3 o'clock U.S. time from Paris.
Yeah, see, that's my problem with following soccer is I don't even never know who's playing in what game. You know what I mean? Like, I know the NBA schedule, and I know, like, the Cavs play in the NBA, and they'll never play in another league other than the NBA.
Yeah. Well, you can look the schedules up online. This Google engine thing.
Stop it.
They can help you.
You guys are always playing these different tournaments.
That's true.
And Euro, you just said something about a Euro Cup.
Yeah, yeah.
So you talked about a Euro Cup. You talked about a World Cup.
Oh yeah, well the World Cup's national teams. So you got the Premier League, which is the domestic league in England. So you got 20 teams that play in the Premier League.
And that's only in England.
That's only in England. Every country has their own league, domestic league. Like we have the MLS. You know, Spain.
So which league is the best league? Which country has the best league, in your opinion?
Arguably England at this point. But I think La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, they might have it. You know, they would argue for that. Bundesliga in Germany.
See, now you're just showing off.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know, I'm not showing off for soccer people. But the best teams from each of those domestic leagues play in the Champions League. And they go through a tournament format. And so it advances all the way to a final.
So how many teams from the Premier League would make would you say Champions League?
4 teams.
So the top 4 teams from the
Premier League make the Champions League group stage.
And then what happens?
So there's 32 teams 32 teams in the group stage of the Champions League.
So four teams from 8 countries. 8 countries leagues,
roughly.
That I assume
we're not
a part
every
of.
No, not every country gets 4 teams in. The best leagues get 4 teams in. The next would get 3.
Okay.
In the small country leagues like Scotland or Austria or something like that would just get 1 team in.
Does anybody from the MLS get to play?
No. They have a CONCACAF Champions League, which consists of all the teams from Canada, MLS, Mexican League, Guatemalan League, Panamanian League, Costa Rican League. Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
I was in Vegas when that was going on.
Well,
it was everywhere.
And Seattle.
Don't bet on it.
No, I didn't.
And Seattle won the CONCACAF Champions League this past year, just last month. The first MLS team to ever win the CONCACAF Champions League. Seattle Sounders. An MLS team.
Interesting.
Okay, but go back to the Premier, the Champion League.
Yeah.
That after that, is that then what? After you win that, you just
champion of the year.
Then what's the Euro Cup?
That's national teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. European Championships
and World Cup
are
World national teams.
Yeah.
And how often do those occur?
Every 4 years.
Asking for a friend. I knew all this. Just there's some people out. Some of our listeners aren't quite as familiar with the soccer as I am.
Every 4 years.
Is what?
Both the European Championships and the World Cup.
Are they at the same time, at the same years, or are they every 2 years?
Every 2 years, basically.
That's smart. Yeah. That's a good idea. Whoever was in charge of that.
Well, FIFA and UEFA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always been a FIFA fan.
Yeah,
you're the only one.
You play the video.
You're the only one, man. Not many people in the world are FIFA fans.
Well, I'm unique.
Yeah, you are.
Unique in that regard.
You are.
We've gone 30 minutes with you. Thanks so much.
That was it.
Are we done?
Yeah. I mean, we can be. We don't have to be.
We can't be done. Well, you're going to want this information.
Okay.
So, you're very particular about the shoes you wear.
Okay.
Give me all-time top 5 shoes you've ever owned.
Oh my God.
They don't even have to all be sneakers. Just give me the top 5, and they may not be we were talking before about the original Climacools that came out in 98 or something.
Yeah. Was it 98?
I don't know. It was 17 years ago. What year is it now?
2022.
It probably could have been late 90s.
90, yeah, mid 90s, mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Or early 2000s. Early 2000s.
My favorite shoes.
I carried the one incorrectly.
Yeah, just go on my spreadsheet.
I could get your spreadsheet out.
My
spreadsheet figure that out.
What are my favorite shoes of all time? Man, I'll tell you a little story. And I don't own a pair. I owned a pair in high school. So when I was in high school, I played soccer and tennis. Mm-hmm. And at the time, John McEnroe was still playing. And he wore this pair of shoes. And they've re-released them this year, and I'm going to go buy a pair if I can get some. The Nike Air Trainer 1. And that was my favorite shoe of all time. And I played tennis in because John McEnroe did. And that is my fondest memory of a shoe, really, truly. And maybe that was how I really enjoyed shoes from that point on. It was a shoe that I had to have, and my parents bought it for me, and it was the coolest thing ever that I got to wear. And I wore those things till they had holes in them. And to this day, I still look at them every time and have fond memories. And they re-released them probably – so this is probably 1987, probably when that shoe first came out, 86, 87. And they re-released them probably 10 years ago, and I was going to buy them, and then I decided, I don't know why I didn't buy them, but they have re-released them. I don't buy them now. I know I'm not supposed to talk about Nike.
No, but I can relate to that because I think that my first pair of Jordans that I got as a basketball player, I'll never forget them. Yeah. And saving up to get them, and nothing else will ever compare to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now you can buy whatever. I don't say you can buy whatever you want to buy, but
I ain't getting no Balenciagas.
Right? Yeah. I get that. I get that. But it was just that
gym shoe.
It was that first.
Yeah.
Right, because basketball was so important to me, and then saving up to get the Jordans, and then get your first pair of Jordans was oh man.
Yeah.
And I wore them. As a basketball player, I didn't dare wear them outside, right? I carried them to the gym every day and back and forth, and then once they're no longer good enough to wear in the gym, then you start wearing them different places, and you just wear them and wear them until you can't wear them anymore.
Yeah.
So that I can appreciate that story.
Interestingly enough, I never have owned a pair of Jordans. Never owned a pair of Jordans. And I mean, that's streetwear now. Like, it's not
right.
just,
Yeah,
it's
nobody's
not even,
playing basketball in those.
No, I mean, and I remember a friend of mine when I was in 7th grade. That was the year 1986 when Jordans came out. When the very first, what do they call them, breads now or whatever, the black and red ones came out. Yeah. The white, red and black ones. Those were the original ones that came out. And I remember when my friend got those, and I thought, wow, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I never got a pair. I never had one, but I mean, that just shows how old I am to remember that very first, first Jordan that came out. Thinking, and then now looking back to that, what an kind of an instigator to an unbelievable culture.
That was the beginning, right? The
initiator to an unbelievable culture.
The Spike Lee commercials.
Yeah.
And like that was the beginning of pop culture and streetwear and shoes and becoming
absolutely
insane. Like they were the first pair of tennis shoes that were $100, right? Can you imagine?
Oh gosh.
I'm sure your parents, like mine, were like, we're not paying $100 for a pair of shoes.
For gym
like, are you
shoes?
kidding me?
No, man.
Get out of here.
No. I mean, that was, that's the thing. Like, you talk about footwear and, like, being a soccer player, and you talk about basketball shoes. I mean, my first pair of Copa Mundial soccer cleats, I mean, like, the Adidas Copa Mundial, like, very few people wear them anymore, but they're the most iconic soccer cleat of all time, man. And having those and flipping your tongue over and just you were so cool, playing in those. And I remember playing in college. We played on the old at North Texas. We played on the old turf, like artificial turf, not the new stuff, like what actually kind of like what the field hockey field is. And you can't wear cleats on that. You have to wear flats. And so they had the Adidas Sambas, and they would have this pair called the Samba Ks, which were made of kangaroo leather, not just full grain calfskin. You go with the Samba Ks, and they had the tongue like the Copas that flipped over. And boy, I was so cool having those, and I played my home games because we were on the turf. With those shoes, and they re-released those recently, and I did get a pair of those, so I have those in my attic. I don't ever wear them, but I have them.
That's
and,
so cool.
And my 16-year-old self would be really jealous of them.
Yeah. Well, the Sambas are iconic, right? I mean,
that's an iconic shoe too. Yeah.
Like Adidas and soccer have gone hand in hand for years, and
absolutely.
With the Gazelles and the Sambas.
Gazelles. I mean, I remember my first pair of Gazelles too. I mean, what an amazing pair of shoes, and I still have a couple pairs of those, but I don't ever wear them. But people still rock those, and they're amazing. Yeah. And obviously when we here at Ohio University went with Adidas, I mean, that was awesome.
You were the happiest coach on staff.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt, because as Bob said, it's like it's hand in hand, soccer and Adidas. Yeah. And so, like, listen, I was in hog heaven. Not that, listen, Nike and has amazing soccer stuff now too. So I mean, we would have whatever, but Adidas definitely is the more iconic soccer brand with obviously a much richer history in soccer, going back to the 1952 World Cup. I mean, 1948 maybe even.
Before Jake was born.
Before all of us were born.
Thank God.
Oh, God.
Well, Aaron, we've almost gone 40 minutes with you, so thank you so much.
Pay by the minute here?
I don't know. I'm more. I just am grateful for everyone's time. That's all. He knows, just because, I mean, doing pregame interviews with him, I'm just always conscious of people's time. So I know you guys are both busy. So
I talk forever.
Very busy.
I can always talk forever, so.
Do we want to ask him anything else?
I'm good.
I feel I need another. You gotta ask like popular culture, because he has hot takes that you can get to.
Well, okay, I will.
Not political, not politics. I'm not going there, but like there's got to be.
There will be.
Like
there's going to be I am teasing our summer series, and you're going to be on it too. I can't say anything. I mean, this is a podcast. I can edit it out, but we are going to have a summer series with coaches, and we already have a sponsor and everything. So. So don't worry, those will come. Trust me. I promise.
Sponsor.
So
Yeah, of course.
yes.
What's your favorite watch? You also love watches.
Yeah, I do. I do
You
love
love
watches.
watches.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite one.
Gosh, my favorite watch. Probably I don't own one, but probably an Omega Speedmaster would probably be my favorite. I don't own one. They're hard to come by these days, and they're pretty expensive. But I mean, if
you get rid of it once those two kids get out of the house,
right?
I mean, your son has just sprinted past you in height.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's probably 3 or 4 inches taller than me, and
I heard the other day he's a better goalkeeper.
But I'll tell you the one thing that I never had control of that I wish I did was my height, and he obviously has that.
Yeah.
So
He's got it. Yeah,
he's definitely got some potential there from a physical standpoint. And I can tell you this: he's only in 9th grade, but he kicks the ball much better and efficiently as a 9th grader or a 15-year-old than I did when I was a 9th grader or 15 years old.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you put him in the goal with the girls? Just shoot down?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. He does. I mean, he does well. He does well. They get kind of irritated. But he does well, and they want to score. I mean, I play sometimes with our players, and they get so like amped up to score on me too. But I talk a lot of trash too.
Yeah.
Tell us about the time that you were a goalie in college, or a professional goalie. But tell us about the time where you took on the field hockey team.
Well, listen, that's a totally different sport. I will say that I was really good at it. But one of the things that they told me immediately, because I don't know, field hockey is obviously it's a little bit unique sport. It's not everywhere, and so I never knew anything about it till I came here. And the ball is really hard.
Yeah.
And as a goalkeeper, you're putting your body in between the ball, a really hard ball, and that net. But you do have pads on. But the pads, if you move in a certain way, expose your flesh and your bones. And one of the most important things that the coaches told me to do was don't go down on your knees, because you do that, you're going to expose your knees and your kneecap. And you don't want the ball to hit there.
Oh.
So, what did I proceed to do the very first time the ball was coming at me? I went down on my knees, and the ball smacked me right in the kneecap, and I was bruised and very sore for the next at least a week, because that ball is very hard.
Well, that would have been but that's your natural instinct. If it was a soccer ball,
very similar.
You would have done something similar.
Similar, yeah,
right?
Absolutely, and so. Yes, because you can't use your hand. You don't have hands in field hockey goalie. You use a stick in one hand, and then the other hand you have like this blocker thing. like it's just like you have a flat hand. And then goalie, obviously, you catch it.
Correct.
It comes to you and you catch it. Well, here I am with this blocker thing and this stick, and I'm like, I can't catch it. Drop to my knees. Bam. That hurt. And so, but I did. I mean, I still have video, and I still show people the video of that. And that was probably 3 years ago that I did that, and it was definitely pre-COVID. And
but different, right? I mean, you're used to being free.
Yeah.
And like you said, using your hands and defending this large goal.
Yeah.
And now you're armored up.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
No hands.
No hands. No hands. The blocker thing makes you feel awkward. But I'll tell you.
But a smaller goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like
a smaller ball.
Well, yeah, and a smaller ball.
But I was good.
You want to do it again?
Yeah, I'd love to do it again. I tell Allie all the time.
Yeah.
But they always she needed me that day because they only had one goalie, and they wanted to play a game with 2 goalies, and so they needed, and so that's why I got to go. I think they've had enough goalkeepers now. So.
I think we could definitely mic you up.
Oh man, I'm in on that one.
Yeah.
But
I've never been asked.
What?
If you were wondering.
If you want to do it
to join,
that would be fun.
No, not to be mic'd up.
You
have been asked that.
You can come play goalkeeper for soccer. And be mic'd up.
It'll boost everyone's confidence. You'll have 39 all-conference kids that day.
But yeah, you can definitely come play goalkeeper and be mic'd up at soccer. That would be real fun.
Yeah.
That would actually be fun.
You can catch a ball. I mean, you play basketball.
Yeah.
I feel like you were.
Yeah, I don't feel like people like I catch a ball when they're passing it to me, not when they're trying to kick it as hard as they can.
But you're athletic. You'll move well in the goal. Like
thank you, Jake.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But I mean, it won't be as awkward, I think, as you probably think it will be.
I hope you're right. Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I mean,
I think it'll be as awkward as you think it'll be. It is just, even it doesn't matter how athletic you are. I think the whole movement at goalkeeping in soccer is such a learned skill because you have to learn like how to move your feet if you don't want to dive, and if you need to dive, how do you move your feet to dive because you can't. I mean, the goal is 24 feet wide. You can't get to some things without leaving the ground and diving and stretching your body out. So learning how to do that. If anything's within here, like your arm span, wingspan, you'd be all right.
Yeah, I'm always amazed, and that speaks to. I think people that watch NBA games think that the NBA guys don't play hard because they're all so stinking good and they are so efficient with their movement. It looks like they're not trying. But if you put a normal person out there, they would get destroyed.
Oh my gosh!
And by the same token, I think lay people would think, oh, I could play goalie. But when I watch top 10 goals or Sports Center or whatever, and I just see professional goalkeepers completely bamboozled, right? Yeah. And that's to your point, right? Yeah. Like all of a sudden you have to jump and you weren't planning on jumping, or the ball, you're defending 24 feet, right? Like that's a lot of space to defend, and are you going to dive? Are you not? And all the other things that are going on around you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
I can see it being something that many people would think looks easy. And like you said, if the ball was – I have a lot of confidence that if the ball was in this area, I could put my body on it somehow and stop it.
You definitely could.
Yeah, it probably would hurt.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the field hockey ball, but it probably hurt.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like if it's over there, I don't know that I would get to it. Yeah. I don't know how I would do it.
Dive.
What about like penalty kicks? I mean, that has as a goalkeeper, is that just a different kind of adrenaline rush?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of – it's a chance kind of thing because they're kicking from 12 yards and, they kick it so hard or they'll place it so well. I mean, it doesn't even matter. If they place it well with some pace on it, it doesn't matter if you're starting to dive over there as they kick it, or it's still going to go in. I mean, and so it's definitely in the kicker's favor on a penalty. But, yeah, if you save it, man, boy, you feel amazing.
Yeah.
You feel amazing.
Do you practice? Is that something that you, or I guess you practice? Obviously, you practice it.
Yeah.
How often?
Not a ton.
I mean, how often is it? It's only going to happen 5 times during your season?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you spend time practicing it when you're going in the postseason. When obviously that's how a game could be decided on penalty kicks. So, we typically have a specific couple of players that will take those penalties in game in the regular season. So we don't spend a lot of time as a team training that. We do, though, going into postseason for sure.
Yeah, so if I'm your worst player, I'm not getting any penalty kick reps at practice. Yeah, it's like it's not going to get to you, Boldon. Just
no.
Stand in line and cheer on
you. Right. Go put the penny on and run around a little bit.
Just cheer real loud.
Yeah.
Do you like ties?
Well, interesting subject. So this year, the NCAA, because we play golden goal. So in a regular season, if you're tied after 90 minutes, you go to 2 10-minute overtime periods, and if you score in that any time in that 10 minutes, you win the game. No chance for the opposing team, whatever. Well, this year they put it out to a vote to see if we would, in regular season, end at a tie. And it passed. So no more overtime in regular season anymore. So really? you play 90 minutes and you're 0-0, 1-1, whatever the score is, the game ends in a tie.
So no overtime.
Did you vote for that?
I did.
That's a good rule.
Yeah. So this is my rationale. And again, it's my opinion. I know a lot of college coaches love the golden goal because they made it was exciting and but my rationale is if you can end a game in a tie, why play another 20 minutes? Just to see if you can find a winner, especially when we play such a condensed season as it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like we're playing 90 minutes, and if you play the whole 90 minutes, you're running 6-7 miles in that 90 minutes, right? And then we're playing 3 days later in another 90-minute game. So why add that extra 20 minutes if the game can still end in a tie? Now, if we went regular season and said, all right, you go to extra time, and if you don't, then you go to the penalty kicks, okay, then that's different because we're finding an outright winner. Well, we don't find an outright winner all the time. So why play the extra 20 minutes?
Yeah.
No, I think that's excellent, especially in this day and age. And the more and more we're learning about the health of our, I think that extra 20 minutes was a good idea 20 years ago when we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Right, but now we know better. Yeah. And it's like, how many more minutes are we going to – you've already asked your kids to play for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as you said, if it's a tournament, we have to get a winner.
Yeah,
we got to play till somebody wins.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
But on a random Wednesday night, if we're willing to say it's a tie – then why are we putting our kids through 20 more minutes of soccer, right? Like, let's end it. Let's get these kids home. Let's get we have to play again in 2 days. They have tests tomorrow. They have stuff to do. You train and you prepare your kids to play a 90-minute soccer game. You don't prepare your kids to play a 110-minute soccer game, right? Yeah. So let's let the kids train to prepare to play what they're going to play, and we'll keep it moving. I think you guys deserve a lot of credit for that.
And that's it. That was my rationale. And I know some coaches were upset because they wanted that excitement of that golden goal win and so. But I also felt like it's so punitive. It's so punitive, the golden goal. Like, you play 90 minutes and you play a 1 minute of extra time, and if you give up a goal, you don't even have a chance to redeem yourself. And I've been on both sides of that here. Like, we've scored a goal in the first minute of extra time, and wow, what a great feeling that is. But I've also been on the other side of that, and that other side of it doesn't make up for the side that when you do win.
No, and you guys are so good defensively that it is to me, that overtime is a disadvantage to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you guys overtime are not going to give up a lot of goals.
Yeah.
You might give up a goal, like you said, in the first minute.
Yeah.
But
over the course of the game.
You're not going to, right? So and that's the whole way your game is played.
Yeah.
Your game isn't like our game where it's like score. It's like the percentages play out. If you get enough shots on goal, you're going to score.
Yeah.
If you don't give up shots on goal, and there'll be some outliers, but you guys have always been very strategic and very disciplined and very good defensively where you don't give up a lot of shots on goals, right?
Yeah, so, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to score goals. I mean, you can get 25 shots in a game and score one goal, or not any goals. I mean, it's definitely a difficult game.
But the golden goal doesn't make sense to me in that regard. It almost is not in the spirit of your game.
Yeah.
Because that's not how your game is intended to be played.
And college soccer is I think the only place that actually plays that. I know FIFA has trialed it at different places. I know the European Championships of 1996 was won on a golden goal, but that was the last year that they ever did a golden goal in that level of a competition. They play out, I mean, in FIFA competitions that you don't need a winner, like a knockout, you tie. Mm-hmm. Ties are part of our sport.
That's what I like about FIFA.
Always thinking proactively.
Yes. They're forward-thinking league.
Yeah. Well, it's not a league, really. But.
Organization. Association.
There you go. Association.
That last day has to be association, right?
It is. It's in
I don't
French,
know what the first three letters are, but the last one's got to be association.
I think it's French, too.
Football's probably in there somewhere.
Federation International Football Association or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a Google machine that we could use.
Yes, the Google machine.
Google. It's everywhere.
It can also give you schedules of all soccer games in the world.
I'm going to Google that.
You're officially the longest interview we've ever had on BobcatTracks this season. So
he should
Shocker.
Be. Yeah, it's only right.
Shocker.
Aaron, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again this summer. We promise.
I look forward to it.
Of course. Once again, big thanks to Aaron Rodgers for taking the time out. Our longest interview, like I said, on BobcatTracks. We haven't, but Aaron was awesome. I think we definitely need to have Aaron on more. But you can also tell Bob that there's a talent side too of Aaron Rodgers in the podcast world, and he showed that today.
Yeah. I mean, he's very articulate, and he's got a vast vocabulary, and he shared it all, and his knowledge of the world and cities and in both Texas and throughout the world. And
I will have to, in our summer series, bring up some of those pop culture takes that you said that he had.
He has several.
He has several. I can't wait to divulge deeper into that later this summer. So
yeah, you just scratched the surface of his shoe collection. There's much more there.
Oh, great! We'll have to come to you before we talk to him later this summer. So
yeah,
I promise we will.
Yeah, you probably should have him and Steph on at the same time. That would
him and Steph.
Yeah, and maybe even Lamar. I would throw Lamar in there too. Yeah,
okay.
And have a shoe episode.
It
would be very interesting.
Lamar, Steph, and Aaron. Honestly, Scholze and I don't even have to be in that. We'll just give them 3 headsets and that's it.
Yes.
We may just
let Aaron run it.
Yeah, that actually would be a good idea.
That's actually.
Yeah.
Boy, we're solving problems of the world today too.
We're solving all of some of our summer problems on the record, and it's going to be great. Thank you for pinch hitting for Scholze.
Of course,
he appreciates it too.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll see you whenever I see you next. I don't know when that will be, but
probably tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Take care, Jake.